StranDead takes place on a deserted island, where survivors of a plane crash must work together to survive and hopefully escape. It is a cooperative game where players navigate the game board to collect food in order to stay healthy and gather parts for a raft to escape the island. But it's not that simple. The island is inhabited by many dangerous threats. Even some of the food you manage to collect could be bad for you. Collect and survive. Can you rely on your team's abilities to persevere until the end? The game begins by rolling a die for the location of the food and raft resources and also your starting position. Every player begins with 10 health points. Players take turns in a clockwise rotation. Each player gets 5 action points for every turn. You can use these action points to navigate the board to reach the different game resources, kinda like energy. You can spend 1 action point to move to a space adjacent to you. You can also spend an action point to help someone that was knocked down. We'll get to this later though. However, if your health is below 5, then you only get 4 action points per turn. Upon reaching a resource location, choose a card from the resource pile that matches the number on the board. You can only collect 1 resource per turn, so if you end up on a space with food and a raft token, you'll need to decide between a food card or a raft card. Food cards help you stay alive because they provide health points. But since this is a remote island, not all the food is entirely edible. If it's edible, in other words, has positive value, then you can store it in your resources inventory to carry around to use whenever it's your turn. There are also raft cards which need to be collected to win the game. 8 to be specific. You add these to your inventory and need to carry these pieces back to the beach where you can take them out of your inventory and place them onto the counter on the board. If you end your turn in a danger zone, you must draw a card from the danger zone pile. A knockdown card could be drawn from the deck which immobilizes you and causes you to lose all of your resources. Because of this, you need to keep teammates close when entering danger zones in case you need to be assisted. Ultimately, players need to work together to manage the different scenarios that this game presents. This includes situations where someone is dying, but perhaps they're not worth saving because they're too far away to reach, or it may be in the best interest of the team if someone sacrificed themselves carrying the final raft parts while the rest desperately seek out food. There is incentive to keep people alive as it is easier to collect raft pieces and maintain knockdown players. At the same time though, it requires more overall food and attention which could be distributed more efficiently. Should you move together as a unit? Stay within a certain distance? Spread out to be as space efficient as possible? Or risk staying in a danger zone? These dilemmas create an interesting team dynamic and intuitive gameplay that has players juggling multiple variables in possible scenarios. To add to this experience, the visual design of the game reflect on more jarring elements of survival that exhibit the visceral essence of its hardships and struggles. I think we were successful because players often found themselves in dire situations, unexpectedly creating moments of desperation, panic, and camaraderie, especially towards the latter half of the game where there's a lot of built-up tension because people are dying off, yet they're so close to succeeding. The thematic context of the visuals were well received in the way it educated and created shocking experiences.